What's going on, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and side hustlers everywhere? Today, we've got an amazing guest for you. We've got Damon Aleczander coming us to us from the great state of Washington. Damon is an entrepreneur. He's a fitness expert. He's a credit guru. He's a funding CEO and expert. He's built a massive team. And Damon and I, our paths crossed, I think, just a little over maybe a year and a half ago. And the things that he has done are quite remarkable. He's also built a massive social media following. So I want you guys to give a warm welcome to Damon. And you're going to want to take some notes today because he is, someone who's all in. He's relentless. He's always taking massive action. He's always learning. He's always getting better. And so, Damon, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Good to get chatting with you again. I think it's been a while since we've really even chatted. Like you said, I think it's been about a year since we were talking consistently. So a lot's transpired in that time. So a lot's happened.
A lot, man. Crazy times here. New program, so many things going on. But I always like to kind of begin these conversations, Damon. Tell us a little bit about your background. What were some of the events, maybe the way you were raised, that kind of led you to question things and say, you know what, I really want to be independent. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to control my destiny. What are some of those events that led you down that path?
Yeah, I was really one of those kind of people who was just determined to find it could have been anything that worked. So I tried a little bit of everything and, probably got scammed a lot, lost a lot of money and, young, dumb and naive, trying everything that you see, believing every ad you see online. Like, oh, you can make money doing this, sign me up. And then you lose thousands of dollars, things like that. So been there, done that with pretty much everything. But I actually come from the labor industry. I worked in the steel industry before I ended up leaving my day job. And I left my day job when I was about 21. And I just turned 29 a couple weeks ago. So I haven't had a boss or a day job since I was 21. And from that, I went into the finance and sales industry, which, took me specifically to trading. So I was a day trader for a long time, up until about 26, 27. I ended up making my own course about day trading, ended up managing investors' money. So I was running a small hedge fund at the time. It's small comparatively, we only had a couple million under management, but I ended up coding a couple algorithms and softwares for trading and sold those and just got burnt out on the trading industry because I was just, I got into entrepreneurship to kind of win my life back, as I'm sure a lot of people probably do. You want a little bit more freedom, a little bit more time, a little bit more money. And, the money was good. But what I noticed is I was staring at charts for 12 to 14 hours a day. So, I just got a little bit burnt out doing that. So I stayed in the finance industry. Obviously, here we are, and just moved to a little bit more of an exciting path. Funding is where it started, and how we got connected was because I think you were actually referred to me by somebody in my network. I think I actually know who it is. I don't want to quote wrong, but I'm going to actually ask him after this because that would be funny. So we got connected because I was like a dog with a bone with information. I was determined to figure everything out I could about funding. Because at the time, it was just the information seemed a little elusive to me. The people who I knew who were in the industry weren't telling anybody anything. So they just, wanted to hold all the cards and all that. I was like, you know what, look, it can't be rocket science. If you guys can do this, there's no reason I can't do this. And then, ended up coming in working with seven figures we had a pretty solid run with seven figures for a while, and, soaked up all the information I could. It really wasn't the funding I was thinking about this last night. It really wasn't the funding process itself that I was learning so much from seven figures. I was learning from you on how to structure a funding company. Like your back end, your CRMs, your team's workflow and stuff. That's what I was studying more than I was studying funding when I was working directly with you guys. And we were able to, put a lot of that into play. Obviously, I think I have 21 employees now. And so it's just been an awesome run since then. Everything is really plug and play. We generate all of our, 80% of our business from advertising. that goes into a system, and all of, our employees obviously have SOPs that I wrote. So nobody is showing up asking what they need to do, right? They all know step by step what they need to do every single day. So it's very plug and play, very efficient. And that allows, myself to get creative with other parts of the business. Like, obviously, we have a bunch of other programs right now. Our most popular one is it's basically a white label. We call it funding automation, where we build a funding company for people and then we run it for them too. So, give them, the front end freedom of all of that. That one's pretty cool. We've since gotten into a couple of other things and, invested in other things as well. But yeah, that's all going really
amazing.
Well. Exciting. Yeah.
All right, dude. So a lot to unpack. So you started out day trading. You had been employed up till age 21. You're like, all right, I got to be independent. I got to be the entrepreneur, the boss. I got to control my own destiny. And then did the day trading thing. So were you doing like stocks, bonds, options, forex, currency, crypto, like a little bit of all? What were the major things you guys were trading?
Currencies. It was currencies specifically. So forex. And I actually quit my job. I had $1,000 day trading. I would trade at work on my phone. And I had $1,000 day and I just quit right there. I was like, forget this. So,
dude, that's funny, because back in the day, I traded too in the 08-09 recession. Like, it was one of the simplest trading times ever. Everybody just bought the dollar because all of the risk came off the table, and the dollar was still the strongest currency. And I think that's what we've seen really in the last year as well, that the dollar maintains its strongest, even though we have inflation and wild government spending. There still isn't a better currency out there, in the country, in the globe, rather than the US dollar. So it gets stronger. So I did that too for a while, and then was looking for. I was getting up at like 5:30 every morning, trading for hours. I just looked like a disheveled mess. And remember
that
one day
would be the New York session. Yeah, trading through 5:30. I would start my trading day for the London session. I think that's about 11 p.m. Pacific Standard, something like that. And I would trade through New York. So I was up all night. It just wasn't the life that I wanted to live. I was up from, like good. 7 p.m. till, 12 noon. And then I'd go to sleep. And, it's just, it's great for some people. It's better for people in different parts of the world, right? Because timing difference. I actually lived in India for 6 months, and my trading day there would start at like noon, 1 p.m. So it was pretty beautiful. But that obviously I don't live in India anymore. So,
dude, that's wild. Lived in India, and so then after that, then you started going down the road of, hey, I want to be in financial services. I want to provide value to people through the financial industry. Started getting into business finance, business funding. I know you've helped people with credit and other things. So the interesting thing is now you're saying, you guys have this big funnel. People come in the door. What's kind of the result that you're talking to, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody listening to this maybe is learning a business. Maybe they're in e-commerce. Maybe they're in one of our funding CEO programs trying to learn how to build a business finance business. It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you can't bring in clients, it's pretty tough. So for you, what was some of the moments or some of the strategies that really turned things around to where, hey, I can generate clients on demand, and it was one client one day and 5 the next day, and all of a sudden you look around, you're like, wow, I've got 21 employees and I'm helping thousands of people. What were some of those steps to where you could start bringing in clients? What were some of the keys to success there?
Like I mentioned, we run paid ads, and the angle on our paid ads really specifically targets startup funding. Anywhere from 50 to I think we have it quoted specifically in the ad. 50 to 250,000 startup funding, which a lot of which is going to be your credit stacking stuff, because if they don't have existing revenue or anything like that, you're kind of limited with those programs. So that's kind of what we hammer on initially, and that's the front end of our ads. It's just startup funding. Obviously, everybody we talk to is a client, because we do have a credit repair program in-house. So if they don't qualify for anything, obviously they're downsold on credit repair, and then we get them qualified, and then we get them funding, or vice versa, whatever it may be. But yeah, we usually target most of our advertising on startup funding.
That's huge, because because when you're focused in on startup funding, it seems like, 40, 50%, no matter how good your ads are, maybe 30, 40, 50% are not going to qualify. Credit's going to be an issue. And so that's extremely powerful to where you can put them in, a credit repair system that you're running internally there. And for you, what's the average, value of a client? How many months are they going to stick into that credit repair program till they're ready for the next step?
Credit repair is an interesting beast. We have a whole division specifically for that. I'm sure you're well aware of also how that works.
Yeah, it is a beast. It is a beast.
So it can be very annoying and a tedious process, but it does work, especially if you're doing it properly, and it's necessary too. I mean, I've done some credit repair stuff on myself for just random things. So but as far as that takes, we always try to be really transparent with expectations. I feel like that's important, not just in business, but in relationships as a whole. We always tell people, hey, you didn't wreck this credit overnight. You're not going to fix it overnight. We're going to give this, 30, 60, 90 days to start seeing some decent results. It can take up to 180 days, depending on how heinous the items are, right? Especially, what bank or what agency is reporting. If you're having a dispute with Chase Bank for $7,000, I mean, it's probably not going to come off very quickly, right? So they don't just roll over and be like, okay, you win, right? So we got to jump through loopholes and do all that. So we are very upfront with people that is a process. But once that process is done, now we can really start doing the fun stuff like funding, investing 0% interest funds into cash flowing opportunities and things like that. That's where a lot of the exciting stuff happens. So it's very much worth it.
And I think one of the most incredible things that I've seen about what you've done with your brand, and by the way, Damon's brand and website is Impruvu, IMPRUVU.io. And so, you start out, there's business funding, there's help with credit, et cetera, but then you actually take the next step and you're like, all right, great. Here's some different financing options. But by the way, I know you're looking for ways to generate an income, to earn cash flow. What are some of those solutions, and what are some of the hot niches out there that people that are listening are like, dang, I'm not really aware, like, where should I be looking? Where should they be looking to earn cash flow and to put this money to work and generate a return?
Yeah. And obviously that was another no-brainer part of our ecosystem is, okay, we're securing people, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It would be, wise for us to also present them options of what to do with that. Right. So we also have high ticket services and opportunities in-house as well that we do, like you said, mentioned them, one of it being our funding automation program. And everything that we either offer in-house or that we promote is also something that we ourselves are heavily invested in. So we don't just promote random things. If we're mentioning it to you, it's because we're doing it ourselves and we're involved ourselves and it's working for us. So one thing that we're also doing is YouTube automation. It's kind of a slow burn, but there's a lot of money to be made in YouTube. A lot of people don't know that you can make $10,000 a month with a single YouTube channel without ever making a video showing your face or showing your voice at all. You never even have to edit a video, right? So a lot of people don't know that you can do that. That's a service that we've really ironed out. I think we are managing something like 120 channels at this time. And doing that, we have a full marketing agency we just started as well. The other things that we have on the radar are trucking. We're getting pretty heavy into trucking, and then probably sometime into next year, in the next 24 months, real estate. So trucking is next on the radar, though. Is something that we want to start putting funds towards.
Wow, that is fascinating, guys. So some of the opportunities Damon just laid out for you, a lot of value here in what he's sharing, automated YouTube channels, social media marketing, all these different places where you can earn a great return. Obviously, starting your own business finance business and marketing services. Like everybody wants done for you in today's market. How important is it to not just teach people about something, but actually really provide a full service? How has that kind of helped your business to really earn a stronghold in the marketplace? The whole done for you thing is appealing to a lot of people, not just a lot of people, myself included. Like when I am,
every month, every 1 to 3 months, we sit, with our core team, and we divert a portion of profits into more investments that, create cash flow. And that's important for people to do. I totally lost the first part of where I was going with that. I know it was a good point though. But repeat what you said, just again.
Just talking about the fact that when you can offer done for you services versus just minimal services that a lot of businesses do, how powerful that is in really growing your business.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah. So where I was going with that is, the society and world we live in, people's attention spans are like this big, right? And not only
1 second,
that, but
2 seconds.
Yeah, at best. I'm a big fan of Alex Hormozy, and I screenshotted it yesterday. I was going to post it today.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
He posted something that was pretty profound. I actually posted my team chat, and everybody loved it. But it was basically on how to talk to an audience. I'm on my phone right here. I'd pull it up and read it to you. But it's basically like you got to assume that nobody knows who you are, nobody knows what you do, and they have a third grade education, something like that. When you're explaining your products and services, right? So you break it down that way, and I just thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that's an epic one. He talks about how to grow an audience if you have 0 followers and some of the steps there. One of the things that he talks about too is the need to create sales that repeat, right? The problem in a lot of businesses, even in business finance sometimes, is you have this transaction, you provide value, you get somebody the thing, right? You help them build an entity, you help them build a website, you do something, you get them some financing, but then it kind of stops there. How have you been able to create recurring revenue within your business that makes it more predictable and more profitable? Because for the audience and everybody listening, if you don't learn to create recurring revenue, quote unquote, passive type income within your business, then you're always going to be chasing the next client, the next thing. So what have you done to create sort of these passive recurring revenue streams in your business? And how important is that?
It is. I mean, that was a change we made in part earlier on. We changed a lot of our services to subscription based for a much smaller fee. Let's say we charge somebody $1,000 or $1,500 one time for credit repair. Instead of us doing that, we that was one of the biggest things we changed about that was that we had to think about who our target client is. Somebody who needs help with their credit usually probably doesn't have $1,500 laying around. Number one. And number two, it just makes a lot more sense business wise and for them to change that to a very small monthly subscription model, because some people are done in X amount of months versus the X amount of months over here. It's different, right? So now they only pay for what they need, and so that keeps them around. Then obviously we built the ecosystem around that to where, okay, once they're done fixing their credit, we can get them funding. Okay, once they finish their funding, we're going to, recommend, we have 2 coaching programs and courses teaching people exactly how to do everything we do. And obviously we have the passive income options as well. So really you got to find things to piggyback off of, each of your services, right? That's why I was saying everybody is a client for us, because if they don't qualify for one thing, then they can qualify for another that'll get them qualified for another thing. Then we can sell them on these things. And then, so it's just creating an ecosystem of everything that just works very well together is very important, I think.
Absolutely. So one of the things I watched and I learned about Damon is he's a guy who believes that if you are pushing your body to the boundaries, that it's also going to trickle down to your mind and your mental toughness and everything that you do. I bet you've done something similar or done maybe a 75 hard, something like that. And I know I have with my 13-year-old son. How important do you believe physical fitness is to kind of help you continue to progress and get better as an entrepreneur?
Incredibly important. I mean, if you look at a lot of the highest performers in the world, they are usually athletes or military or both. And it's because of that reason. When I go into, actual partnerships with people, or I'm investing with somebody, a lot of times I like to see that that person's an athlete, military, or both. My whole family's military. I'm not, but I grew up in that environment. So, it's that level of discipline that's frankly hard to find these days. And, you're not always going to want to wake up and do the things that you need to do, right? Like, I don't always want to show up and do the work, but I do it, right? And that's what you need is it's really hard to find that in people. So it's such an important trait.
No question. Well, for me, man, I'm just incredibly excited, proud, to have played a little bit of a part in kind of being there.
I mean, it was a pretty big part.
Some different tools.
It was a pretty big part. You were the launching pad, I would say, for where we went with this. Like I said, it wasn't so much funding, the process itself that I was learning, but it was how to run a funding company is what I was learning from you. So I was just, kind of shadowing your every single move and watching you under a magnifying glass for a couple of months. And then, scoured through the entire website, the whole back end, looked through how everything was structured. And I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. I think we can do this. And then, here we are.
Absolutely. But dude, tell us about your success. Whatever you're comfortable sharing. But I mean, basically you've gone from, yourself to now you've got 21 employees. You're providing millions of dollars in funding every month. Tell us whatever you're comfortable sharing in terms of the success and the growth of your business, because it's extraordinary.
I mean, we're trying to cross 8 figures by the end of the year. It's within reach. We got to kind of put the pedal down a little bit and run. But, if we do that, that means we built a funding company from scratch to 8 figures in 12 months. So that's pretty sweet. They're really gunning for that right now.
Heck yeah, man. That's unbelievable. Big props to you and your team. Congratulations on your success. Where's the best place? Because obviously the audience is listening. They're saying, wow, this is remarkable, everything this guy is doing. Where's the best place for them to go and connect with you, Damon?
Social media. We run a lot of our marketing and advertising on social media specifically. So I'm always pretty active on it, as much as I can be anyway. My lady always gives me a hard time. So I'm working on balance, because obviously you got to pay attention to her too. So I'm working on, turning the phones off in the evenings and on Sundays. But outside of that, I'm pretty active on all social medias and pretty responsive, because that's where we generate a lot of our clientele and talk with clients and all of that. And again, just a key takeaway. I know obviously I'm the one here talking to you, but my entire team should be here talking to you. It's not just me. Like, I'm just the guy that came up with the ideas and, found the smart people that are smarter than me and do it. Like, my dev guy, he's the other partner in my business, is just a wizard. He built our entire back end. Wouldn't have half of any of this without him. I have a tiered management now. So Lamar is, the manager for our entire funding team. And he does all the training and everything for that. Alina is just amazing. She is, I don't even know what to call her anymore, because she basically runs the company. She does everything. Started off just as admin and customer service. Now she does everything. But so seriously, it's just a matter of finding good people to have on your team. More importantly, people that are smarter than you in specific areas, and bringing all that talent together is how we got where we're at.
Unbelievable, Damon. Thank you so much for being a guest on the 7 Figures Club podcast. And for everybody listening, now it's time to take action, right? It's time to connect with Damon Aleczander. His website's impruvu.io. And don't just passively learn these things. Learn towards implementing and taking action. You heard Damon say last year he was watching, he was doing the research, he was figuring out the ins and outs. The easiest way to build an organization or an empire is to find someone who's done it and then to learn everything you can, follow that roadmap to success that they leave out for you. And when you do, success is inevitable, and building an 8-figures empire is the result. Damon, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And just to tie off of what you just said, you guys, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know that there's no such thing as saturation in any market. You know, if you feel like something's saturated, or there's too many people doing it, or maybe it's not working for you, and you use the excuse of saturation, it just means your business sucks and you need to change something, because there's no shortage of clients. That's why we have our funding automation program. We could help 1,000 people start a funding company tomorrow, have them all be successful and do well, and there would still be more clients than any of us can serve, right? There's just, you got to get that scarcity mentality out of your head and realize we can all do this just fine. Right. And so just get around people that are performing at a high level, and just be a great copycat. Right. That's it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. And we'll be in touch.